little compact, beautiful organ called the brain. When you look at all this, the maturity of the human being is to posit, to question, to ask who or what has created this wonderful universe. And once you get into this, life becomes exciting. The journey to discovery itself becomes exciting. So you're looking for a force, a divine power outside of you. And then suddenly it occurs to you that the beyond is within. Not only is it within, that beyond, that mighty power that you're seeking is you. So the whole journey is one of self-discovery. Now these 4 stages seem to be replicated in our growth itself. You take an infant, a child is born. No baby ever remains content with what it is. Actually, if you look at a baby, everybody takes care of the baby, everyone looks after the baby. Hunky-dory for the baby. Why should it grow? And yet, every infant, right from the time it's born, has this irresistible urge to grow, to improve, to better its performance. And so it struggles. It lies on its back, it struggles to turn over. And once it turns over, it's still not content. It struggles to sit up, to crawl, to walk, to run. And every phase of growth is painful. The child needs to put in enormous effort. It fails over and over again, but never does it give up. And when it achieves every little stage, there is that look of fulfillment on the child's face. Only for a moment. And then on it goes to the next horizon, the next goal. And then it becomes a school-going child. And that school-going child has again to put in so much effort. Can you imagine what it must be like to learn the alphabet? And in India, we have to learn not one language, but 2, 3, sometimes 4 languages. National language, English, mother tongue, regional language, all kinds of things. And then the child is put to so much pressure to perform, to get 90%. And even after all that, the parents are not satisfied. Then it grows to an adult. So these 4 stages of infancy, toddler, schooler, and adulthood can be equated to the 4 stages of growth, which is pleasure, success, duty, and self-discovery. Why we've talked about all this is that most of us are in the infancy of spiritual life. All that matters to us is sense contact. And in India, the national hobby, national obsession is, you know what? Food. You wake up in the morning and say, what's for breakfast? Breakfast is barely over, you've had nice 3 aloo parathas for breakfast, and next thought is, what's for lunch? Wherever you go, whatever you do, the focus is on food, including an ashram. There are people who go to a spiritual retreat and come back and say, food is excellent. You don't remain with just sense contact. Move ahead. When you go to the Western countries, they're all obsessed with success, power, wealth, fame, celebrity status. Page 3 years. You have that page 3 here? Yeah. What? Sometime it should occur to you, what's the big deal about your photograph appearing on page 3 of the newspaper? Which nobody reads anyway. So you move to the call of duty. And then you understand that everything in the world is undependable. There's nothing that you can call your own, nothing that stands by you forever. And that desire to look for and achieve the permanent is called the spiritual path. What the Gita tells us in the 18 chapters is simply one aphorism, which is Tat Tvamasi, that which you are seeking. Some people are directly seeking God, some people are indirectly seeking through happiness. Whatever it is that you are looking for, you are already that, you are fulfilled, you have already achieved it. Then what is the problem? The problem is you just don't know it. And so because you don't know your state of fulfillment, your state of completeness, your state of infinity, you experience a gnawing, irritating sense of emptiness. And when you feel incomplete within, thoughts go out from you to the world, and that first thoughts that go out is called kama, desire. And then as a result of that desire comes karma, action. So there are three things that emerge as a result of your not knowing your infinite state. So you are God. When you don't know it, avidya, ignorance, kama comes, desire, and karma follows. So the simple formula is you minus desire equals God. So if you want to get to the state of Godhood, what must you do? Eliminate desire. Now that's easier said than done, and that also doesn't motivate us. When we say, or when the Gita says eliminate desire, it simply means eliminate that which is causing you trauma. Eliminate that which is causing you stress. And enjoy the world. When they say eliminate desire, they don't mean give up objects of desire. In fact, the truth of the matter is, when you give up desire, the object of desire comes to you unasked for, unsought, unsolicited. And that's the pleasure. There is no pleasure when you hanker after something, crave for something, and eventually obtain it, you feel cheated. The fun of life is to not look for something, not really want it, and get it, you enjoy it thoroughly. So the question that comes is, how do you get rid of desire? So Vedanta, the Gita, gives 4 pathways, 4 methods by which you overcome desire. They are called Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is the path of knowledge for intellectuals, people who have the capacity to question, analyze, discriminate, weigh the pros and cons, etc. There are some people who don't have this intellectual stamina. So what do? They follow Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion for emotional people. And then there are others who tend to be more active. So the path of action, Karma Yoga, for the active people, meaning those who have a balance of both intellect and mind, head and heart. And then there are a few, fortunately for us, a minority of people who have neither head nor heart. For them, they are also not left out. They are prescribed what we call as Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga, the path of compulsion. So, what is Jnana Yoga? Jnana Yoga is called Nirguna Upasana, formless worship, where the person has, as we saw earlier, the capacity, the stamina to think of subtle ideas. So he doesn't need a form. He doesn't need an idol. He is able to directly conceive of God through ideas, thoughts. So what does he do? He distinguishes between the individual self and that spirit, between spirit and matter. It's like when an actor is playing a role, he constantly discriminates between the various roles that he plays and the actor who is a constant factor in all the roles. He discriminates between the finite and the infinite, between the real and the unreal. This is the path of knowledge. Those who don't have the capacity to do this follow the path of bhakti, devotion, which is called Saguna Upasana. Saguna Upasana is form worship. where all you have to do is convert your love, which you're already. See, an emotional person is one who is constantly reaching out to people with feelings, emotions. It's like this. Suppose you're driving past in your vehicle and you witness an accident that takes place. There are 4 kinds of people. The intellectual person will sit there and say, okay, let me see whom to contact, which is the best method to go about it, which doctor to take the patient to, which hospital, this, that and the other. So he's just thinking. The second, emotional, he doesn't think, he just reaches out, says, don't worry beta, everything will be alright. He gives comfort, solace. The third is running around, calling an ambulance, calling a friend, action oriented. And the fourth sits there and does nothing. So there are 4 kinds of people. So in Bhakti Yoga, what happens is that an idol is worshipped. They call it Ishta Devata. Whatever appeals to you, whichever idol, whichever kind of God, whatever concept appeals to you, you pour your emotions towards that one entity. And thereafter, wherever you go, whatever you say, do, you only see the Lord. It's like when you love another individual, I'm sure every one of us has one person, one individual around which your life revolves. It could be a child, it could be a parent, it could be a spouse, it could be anything, anyone. When you truly and honestly love that individual, wherever you go, whatever you do, you only see something that connects you to that individual. So you're thinking of him or her all the time. Isn't that true? Don't tell me you don't feel for anyone like that. It could be a grandchild. And that love that you feel for one individual, and then thereafter everything else fades into insignificance. It's just this one thing that takes over. Similarly, when you change your feelings, your love, from all worldly things to that one transcendental reality, that one God, and all your feelings are poured out to that one entity, then whatever you do, wherever you go, whatever you see, you only see it as a manifestation of that God. You see God's grace everywhere. So this is bhakti, very powerful. You and I in the modern world today have not reached that level where we experience the power of purity of heart. If you see it in people, there are people who may not be intelligent, who may not be successful, who may have all kinds of faults within them, but they have this one outstanding quality of just purity of heart. They're all heart. What a wonderful state that is. They are taken care of by the world. They don't need to look after themselves. Because of this power, we haven't experienced it. We are not leveraging it. We have not come anywhere near that state of purity of heart. That is why Christ said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." This is all about bhakti. And the 12th chapter that we're going to do is all about bhakti. What happens in this is that there is a form, an idol, a Ganesha, a Krishna, a Rama, a Shiva. And all these gods, there's a multitude of gods or idols that are presented because there are different kinds of people. You can't put one and say everybody must follow. And that Ishta Devata, that idol, represents the ideal, the transcendental reality. And a whole lot of myths and symbols and rituals and parables, enchanting, have been woven around this. And therefore it is that every aspect of Indian culture is pervaded by this. Whether it is music or dance or art or anything, including business. Some symbol is associated with it, some myth is associated with it, some parable, some ritual. And they're so enchanting that it captivates your heart. So in and through your daily activity, in and through your mundane existence in life. There is this thought of your Ishta Devata, of the higher, that inspires you to reach higher and higher levels of excellence. So this is Bhakti Yoga. Then there are people who tend to be active. So what they do is, every one of them identifies a talent that they have, and they say, this talent has been given to me by God. So I offer the talent back to God. So whatever he does, all his actions are dedicated to reaching that state of realization through action. And the emotions in such a person, whatever he does for God's sake. And so there is a blend of head and heart here. Then comes the last, Hatha Yoga. A person who has neither head nor heart functioning within is made to go through a discipline of certain exercises and pranayam by which the mind and intellect get activated. And so if you are able to blend all four, because all of us are intellectual at some time, at that time give knowledge. All of us at some time in our lives are emotional, give devotion, bhakti. All of us are active, perform karma yoga. And all of us at some time or the other are tamasic, means lazy. Nothing is happening, comatose condition. At that time, give Hatha Yoga. So if you balance all these four according to your personal composition, individual composition, there is a meteoric rise in your spiritual development. I would strongly recommend that you embark on at least one of the four. Then the other three catch up. So we now begin with the first verse of chapter 12.